Hello, this is Rebecca, and welcome to my video on what is borderline personality disorder. The first few videos on this channel were very sporadic, very spontaneous, so I haven't really had a chance to accurately and personally explain what borderline is, which is really sad because that's what this channel is mainly about. So it would be nice for you guys to understand what it is. So I have what's called the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5. It's the 5th version of it. And that is like the Bible. Like the equivalent to the Bible in psychology and defining mental illness and, diagnosing and all of that stuff. So, I have it up right here. I have the listed criteria for borderline. And let me just say this. Trigger warning. Yes. Okay. There's talk about abandonment issues, suicidal ideation / attempts / self-injury, which, by the way, self-injury and being suicidal, like suicide attempts, not the same thing at all. So I will make a video on that in the future. What else is there here? Emptiness, anger, all sorts of things, okay? So, yeah, trigger warning. And let's see here. So, there are 9 criteria for borderline, and to get a diagnosis, you only need to meet 5 of them. I meet all 9. I am a lot better than I used to be. And I'm so thankful for that, but I do still meet all 9 criteria. Sorry. Okay, so let's go on this journey together. So, there is a little blurb here at the very top, like right before the criteria is listed, to kind of describe in a sentence what borderline is. So it says, a pervasive pattern of instability of interpersonal relationships with other people. That's what that means. Self-image and affects and marked impulsivity, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by 5 or more of the following. So, before I list the criteria, I will explain in my own words what I view borderline as. So, and I will say this again, I'm not a professional, okay? I'm just a woman who has borderline, and this is just my experience, so please don't be offended, by anything I say. Other people with borderline are going to have completely different experiences than I do, so please keep that in mind. To me, borderline personality disorder is a fucking roller coaster. It is dreadful. Basically, if I had to pinpoint my struggles with it, I would say my emotions are on a constant roller coaster, and there is no break, so always accelerating, and the speed varies greatly. You never know if the friggin' cart is going to fall off of the track. My emotions go from 0 to 100 so fast. And I mean, like, ungodly fast. Like, one word, one nonverbal signal, you know, body language, the tone of voice that someone uses, you know, anything can set me off. And it depends what has set me off. That provokes a certain emotion. So, example is if someone, like, rolled their eyes. Alright? Even if it wasn't intended at me, I might perceive it that way. And if I perceive that, I will get very fucking annoyed. And it affects me for a long time. The way that I had it described to me at one point was, people with borderline have like a baseline. It's still up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's lower waves. So up and down, up and down, up and down, and that's the borderline baseline. Normal people who don't have borderline have a baseline as well, but they're more often themselves, and they don't have the intense emotions that we do. So something might tick someone off or make someone sad or something like that, you know. For normal people, maybe their baseline is like this, and then tiny little bit up when something bad happens, come back down very fast. For people with borderline, we're constantly going like this because our moods change so fast all the time. And I mean, like, you can be happy, sad, angry, grieving, restless, bored, sobbing, all in one day. And it is exhausting. So, my old therapist, I don't see her anymore, but she was fantastic. She described it to me as, we have a baseline, but when something triggers us, we go up very high emotion. So we're like, bam, right up there so fast, and it takes a really long time for us to come back down to our baseline. And our baseline isn't stable to begin with. So to add in all that emotion and how fast it comes on and how intense we feel it, it is so painful. And I told this therapist, this is sad, but I told that therapist, she did everything she could to get me in something called Dialectical Behaviour Therapy, and, well, DBT for short, and it is the leading treatment in borderline. Borderline cannot be cured. It can be treated. You can have medication to help with certain aspects of it. Typically, people with borderline will have more than one mental illness, which I do, and sometimes they'll use like meds or different kinds of therapy to treat those symptoms. I think when I went into the hospital in like 2014, 2015, that was like the first time I'd gone to the hospital, like to the ER. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, reoccurrent episodes severe. So I was treated primarily for depression first. And that's when I started to have the meds and therapy for the depression. I mean, I've always had the symptoms of borderline, but that's when people started, like, my therapist, my psychiatrist started to be like, okay, Yeah. So my therapist worked really hard to get me into DBT, and I told her right before she got me in, this is my last resort. If this does not work, nothing will. And I was right. Like, in that, like, I had been in therapy and felt like it just nipped around the edges, didn't really get to the root of the problem. Felt like my therapists in the past didn't understand me at all. I had one therapist who liked to challenge my beliefs, challenge my thoughts, and yes, some of my thoughts, some of my feelings are irrational. They are very all over the place. But she would, like, challenge them, and it would piss me off, and I would leave therapy so angry. Now, I've had, like, 4 therapists since then who I can't accurately describe how thankful I am for them, because they helped me save my life. So, yes. Moving on to more symptoms of borderline that I struggle with. I also struggle with really bad anger. And when I was younger, it didn't really come out at other people, except, like, my siblings. It was more inward. So I started to hate myself. I started to get angry with myself when things went wrong, even if it wasn't my fault. You know, a lot of self-hatred. You know, it's hard. It really was hard, and still is. And because I wired myself that way, I learned over time that was, like, a lie told enough often becomes believed. So I started to believe it, and that became my baseline. That became this is who I am. I'm a horrible person. I don't deserve good things. Everyone hates me, and, you know, they should. Like, and I don't feel that way anymore, but I still slip into that sometimes, which is really sad, but it's true. Other things that I struggle with are being really impulsive. That I hate it so much, because I feel like I'm never gonna move on with my life, never become a responsible adult, because I am so impulsive. My primary issue with being impulsive is money. It used to be sex. Not anymore. Now it's money. And it's just not good. So I've gotten a lot better. Believe me on that. I have wonderful people in my life who help me, you know, with a budget, and I do veer off that budget sometimes and spend more than I should, but I am a lot better than I used to be. You know, I don't want people, you know, watching this and being like, oh, she can't handle money, don't give her money, blah, 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 because I'm a lot better than I used to be, and I'm a lot more responsible with it now. I also have, in my previous video before this one, my official introduction to my channel, I started having what's called dissociation. Basically, as a kid, I felt like reality was too painful, so I started to space out all the time. Like, would spend pretty much every single day most of the day in my head, not paying attention to the real world. You know, reality was just not where I wanted to be. So that was a stress coping mechanism. I started to dissociate, you know, space out. Now, because it happened all the time, I struggle with it a lot. It is a big part of my borderline. I get to a point where sometimes it scares my friends. Scares me sometimes too. And I remember one time I was with a friend at a restaurant, and I spaced out for like 5 minutes, and she could not get me to respond to her, and it freaked her out. And then I come back going, wait, what happened? You know, and she says, 5 minutes, you were gone for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, like, that's the scariest part to me, is losing time, and especially, like, if I'm not with someone I don't trust, if I'm with someone I trust, I feel a lot safer when that happens. When I'm, like, in public, like, alone, that is so scary. You know, most of the time it'll be, like, where I'm sitting down, you know, just sitting there having a coffee or something, like, but I'll just, like, stare off into space. And you know, I've had a couple times where people have asked me, are you okay? Like, and then some days are awful. Like, some days it starts and it doesn't stop. I'm constantly in and out, spacing out all day, and that day is basically wasted because I can't focus on anything. So that's another really, really rough part, for me in borderline. What else is there here? Oh, yes. Self-identity. Knowing who you are. I didn't really know who I was for a really long time. Like, sometimes would look in the mirror and be like, is that me? A lot of it is internal, though, for me. During breakdowns, used to have to write facts about myself in a note on my phone. I had one that was so bad. I was like 21 when it happened, and I had to write down, my name is Rebecca. I am a woman. I am 21 years old. I have brown hair. My hair is like medium length. You know, my eye color is brown. Like, it was really bad. And now, like, right now, I'm doing work on values, because my whole life I've not really known what my values were. I have a tendency to, like, when I'm really friends with someone, or I'm, you know, someone new is in my life, or I appreciate and love, like, a character in a movie or a TV show or something like that, I tend to pick up on their characteristics. It's like a chameleon. Like, it's actually really disturbing. And sometimes I struggle with knowing who I am, what I believe in, because sometimes I will pick up on someone else's stuff and say, no, I believe that, and then I go, wait, do I really, or am I just trying to, you know, gain approval from people? Because that's another thing of borderline, is massive fear of abandonment. Whether it's someone really leaving you, or you thinking someone is going to leave you, like, it's really, really bad. The other thing that I have a hard time with is self-injury. I remember when I was, like, 14, maybe a little younger, I was like 13. I remember I had a friend who used to cut herself, and and I would look at her scars, and like when she would do it again, like she had new scars, and I would be like, why would you do that? Like, and it wasn't trying to be judgmental, it was just, I honest to God did not understand. When I was 16, had a situation where my parents went away and we had a friend come and stay at the house. I was 16, so, and I have 4 younger siblings, and I babysat them a lot growing up. But my mom and dad wanted an adult in the house. So our friend came over and we cleaned, and I mean, my house growing up was not clean. We were very messy, like, especially, you know, it was not good. And no shame to my family. I love my family, but our house was not very clean. And it was stressful, really, really stressful. And there were some points in that time period where it was bad. It was really bad. And I remember feeling so helpless and lost. And I had no one to turn to and talk about this stuff with, the stress. And I remember that friend telling me, I don't do it because I want to hurt myself. I do it because it's a coping mechanism. And it's something that helps me gain control over my feelings. So I took some scissors and I cut myself. And it was really scary for the first time. But it helped. And I'll go more into depth with using self-injury as a coping skill. Well, not skill, mechanism. Skills are healthy. Coping mechanisms may not be. Yeah, I'll go more into depth on that in a different video about self-injury, and yeah, but I didn't start self-harming until I was like 16. I do remember though, like, growing up, I did not take care of myself. I was extremely self-neglecting. I did not shower. I did not brush my teeth. I did not take care of anything on me. I didn't take care of my room. It was horrible. And I'm shocked people were my friends because, I mean, and some people would stay away from me because I stunk. I was disgusting. And that just, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when you smell bad or your hygiene sucks, like, people aren't gonna want to be around you, so you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough to deserve being clean. I don't, I'm hideous, I might as well just not do it, not take care of myself, and then people don't want to be around you, and you're like, well, see, everyone hates me, so, I'm a lot better now. I really am. I take care of myself pretty well. Big struggles there, but I do. But yeah, overall, I know this is just a disaster video right now. I am so sorry. I am very out of it right now. My brain is in a million different places. I'm very scatterbrained today. I've been having dissociation since I got home from work. So that's fun. So I'm gonna move on now to the actual criteria. So, I'm sorry, that looked really ugly. I apologize. Okay, first one is frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. And it says, note, do not include suicidal or self-mutilating behavior covered in Criterion 5. So, when I feel like someone is going to leave me, or I feel like I'm in trouble, or I get in a fight with someone, my first instinct is to run. Whether that's actually covering my face, crying, running out the door while someone is chasing me saying, come back, we'll fix it. Or breaking up with someone right as things are getting good because I'm scared they'll leave. It's horrible. And that's a huge part of borderline, is the fear of abandonment. There's a book, literally a book. I will grab it because I have it. It's called I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. And it's about borderline. It's Understanding the Borderline Personality by Gerald J. Kreisman, MD, and Hal Strauss. Yes, this book right here. I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. Yeah, when I first heard that book title, I was very annoyed. But there's something called splitting, which we will get to in a moment. Okay, so the second one, a pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of ideation and devaluation. So that is splitting. That's like the slang term, in my opinion, for this symptom. Basically, it's black and white thinking. So we have very bumpy, intense relationships with people. A lot of us, especially like in my experience, I didn't know how to communicate properly. Sometimes still don't. So yeah, I apologize. I am making all sorts of movements and it just does not look good. I'm so sorry. But yeah, no, I've had a lot of issues with, you know, having friends that I've had issues with, and I have some people who just don't talk to me. They just refuse to talk to me because I've caused issues for them, or we've had spats, and they're just like, I'm done. And what sucks is that one day something they do may make me so happy that I'm like, I love this person. I love this person so much. They're like my favorite. Because another thing with borderline is that sometimes we have favorite people, which is who we want to spend the most time with, who we want to be with at the moment, like, and it changes. I don't really have favorite people. My favorite people are fictional characters. Not real people. So that's going to be a video in the future too. And I'm getting red because this is embarrassing for me to talk about the fact that my favorite people are usually fictional. So yeah, it's embarrassing, but I will talk about it in another video specifically designated for that. But yeah. So we go from I love this person to when they do something small that upsets us, I hate this person. And it's not always that intense, but because we feel everything so intensely, most of the time, at least for me, it is that intense. And it's something that I've learned to just deal with. So I use skills I've learned in therapy to say, okay, no. This is not how this is gonna be. Like, you can't do this all the time because this is just a mess for you. It's a mess for them because they don't know what they did to upset you. Like, it's just a disaster. And people often describe borderline or being in, friends with someone or having someone they love have borderline as walking on eggshells. Because we do react so fast to everything. Okay, third, identity disturbance, markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self. Yes. I already kind of did a little blurb on that, so I'm gonna move on. 4. Impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging. And the examples that they have listed here are spending, yeah, sex, used to, substance abuse, have never. And that is a very, my parents raised me to believe that doing drugs, smoking, all of that was really bad. I'm so thankful they did that, because I can guarantee you, if they had not, I would have gone to drugs as a way to control everything going on. And that's so sad to say, but that's something I came to terms with a long time ago. Like, that I would probably be a drug addict if my parents hadn't have raised me that way. So, yeah. And other examples are reckless driving and binge eating. Yeah. And it says, note, do not include suicidal or self-mutilating behavior covered in Criterion 5. 5. Recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures, or threats, or self-mutilating behavior. Yeah. Enough said on that one. 6. Affective instability due to a marked reactivity of mood. Yes. Examples: intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, or anxiety, usually lasting a few hours and only rarely more than a few days. For me, when I have like a breakdown or I get triggered by something, I'll have the immediate issue, and then I will feel the after effects for a couple days at least afterwards. You know, so if someone brings it up to me the next day, I might cry again. Like, or I might, you know, there was one time where, I don't remember what happened. Yeah, no, I do. Sorry. Okay, it's just gonna be a second now. Having issues again. When that happens, I just have to try and figure out a way to ground myself, so I've been gripping onto my couch cushion to bring myself back. Yeah, there was one time where I think I had just gotten my driver's license, and I was driving in a school zone, and I must have made a mistake. Maybe, I think it was at a stop sign. We were doing the right of way because it was a 4-way stop. And I think I went early. And this guy screamed at me out of his window and, like, flipped me off. And I was like, like, it was not good. And then after getting upset about it and having my little breakdown, for the couple days afterwards, I was so pissed at him. Like, I didn't even know this person, but I was so angry. I was like, that fucking asshole. Like, and it's funny now, but like at the time it was not funny. I was really, really hurt over it. And I have discovered through therapy that anger is my baseline emotion. So when I'm upset or there's something going on that I don't understand or can't describe, it comes out as anger. And yeah, it's rough. Okay, moving on. Okay. 7, chronic feelings of emptiness. So the way I would describe this one is feeling like there is nothing in your life to live for, or feeling literally empty, like you have nothing inside of you, like you just exist and there's nothing there. No hopes for the future, nothing to care about now, just a blip in the universe, nothing worth anything in your life. Like, it's when you get like that, when, you know, especially like, no, it's really hard to get, like, when I'm like that, don't even try to convince me that things are gonna be okay, because I need time to work it out myself with my therapist. 8. I was just talking about this one. Inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. Examples: frequent displays of temper, constant anger, recurrent physical fights. I used to get in physical fights with my siblings. It's not like that anymore. But yeah, no. My baseline was anger for a very long time, and sometimes, especially this past year, anger. All the time, every day, all day. Dreadful. Yeah. Okay. 9. This is the last one. Transient, stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. You will notice, just like a little bit ago when I was talking about that guy in traffic, that dickhead, when I was thinking about him, I spaced out. Sometimes that happens when I am stressed, and recalling that memory was stressful. But like I was saying earlier, there are times now, like through my whole life, where I'm not stressed and it happens because my mind is just used to doing it. And then I do get paranoid. Not like a lot. Usually when I'm really, really, really bad, I get paranoid. I do have some level of paranoia, but I feel like that's to some extent a good thing. It's primarily making sure I don't park in dark places, checking under my car before I go near it, like making sure that the oven is turned off before I go out, because I have an absolute fear of fire. Like a fire starting in my house, oh no. Like, that is something I'm very paranoid about. And I don't know if that's like OCD or just plain old paranoia. I don't know. But that manifests sometimes. What else? I was gonna say something else and I don't remember what it was. No, I don't remember. Oh well. Yeah. So, I apologize that this video has just been an absolute shit show. Some of my videos will be, because I am very scatterbrained and just all over the place. So, yeah. I think I'm gonna stop this video now. Use. Yeah, I should stop this video now. I'm starting to do it again. Okay. Thank you very much for watching my video. I plan on doing a video for each symptom, for each diagnostic criteria. I want those to come next, but I'm also going to be working on a video about COVID and my experience with COVID as someone who has borderline, because this past year has been awful for me, for my family, for everyone. But my family and I, this past year has just been awful. So I do want to make a video about COVID and how it affected me. So yes, that will be a video coming up very soon. But I do plan on making videos about every symptom of borderline. Alrighty. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye.